Hello and welcome. This is the video for section 1.2 dealing with the properties of functions and learning some function vocabulary we will be using for the rest of the year. To start with, we have our basic definitions. And what I'd like for you to do is to go to page 86 in your textbook, section 1.2, and go through the first half of the page to find these definitions. We will talk about them in class and review them to make sure that you understand them fully. I will be using those definitions for the rest of this video. So please press pause right now, go through, find the information, write it down on your sheet, and then come back to listen to the rest of the video. Okay, so welcome back. And what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about function behavior. We'll start with the idea of continuity. Continuity deals with how the graph behaves throughout the graph. So we start by defining what does it mean to be continuous. In order to be continuous, the graph cannot come apart at any point. Or if you were to draw the graph, so if we look down here at the continuous graph, if you were to draw the graph, you could draw the graph without ever picking up your pen. You can draw the entire graph without having to pick up your pen. So now that we have a basic idea of what continuity is, or a continuous function is, we need to talk about when it is not continuous or when it is discontinuous. The first one that we will talk about is something called the infinite discontinuity. When there is a break, so at the break, the graph splits, and the graph goes to infinity or negative infinity. So let's look at this graph. An infinite discontinuity graph would be in two parts, and at our discontinuity point, we'll call it A, the graph does not touch, and it goes off to positive infinity and to negative infinity. The next type of discontinuity is called a removable discontinuity. Removable discontinuity is a graph with a hole in it. It is a regular graph, but instead of having it full everywhere, there is a hole in there. So at this point, again we'll call it A, the graph is undefined. Now sometimes with the removable discontinuity, we might have another point up higher, so that it is defined, it's just the main graph has a hole on it. We can see the hole right there. Lastly, something called a jump discontinuity. It looks like two graphs, and as we're going along in our graph, there is a jump in the function values. Now when I say function values, I'm really talking about the y values. So my graph will come along and it will stop, and it will jump either up or down and start again. And either of these will be, so we have again at A, we have a discontinuity. It breaks. We have to pick up our pen and start again. Now it may be defined, it might have two open holes or one closed hole and one open hole, depending on the graph.